I can give you 600,000 economists who cannot explain what money is. Imagine there was a base metal as scarce as gold. It's not useful for any practical or ornamental purpose, but it has one special magical property. This is the regression theorem in real time. This is the price. That's why we look at the price. Answer, of course, is it's all of that, but there is a timeline. Good morning. I hope everybody's great. I have 18 minutes and I want to be very honest with you today. So that's why I'm talking about the Bitcoin price. For those who don't know me, this is me. I've been running Was Bitcoin bringt, which is the leading German Bitcoin podcast for 4.5 years now. I've got a bunch of millions of downloads, of course, mostly from the German-speaking world, no wonder there. But one thing that has always been lacking, or not lacking, but something that I might have been too blasé about, is the Bitcoin price. You know, my approach for the first couple of years has always been this. You know this one? It's a classic, you know? And you could put on, you know, I'm in it for the revolution. I am in it for the philosophy of it all. I'm in it for the history. And it's true, I am. And today I want to talk about how some of the riddles of Bitcoin that always get, you know, brought up, you know, store of value versus unit of transaction, for example, or all the narratives that we hear, how they can actually be explained through the lens of the Bitcoin price, something that we, you know, look at when it's going up, when we are happy, and we look at it when it's going down and we're a little bit sad or scared, but something that we, me included, didn't take too seriously until recently. I never developed my own opinion of the price, to be honest. So I would do a podcast, I would, you know, invite experts, I would listen to them, I would talk to them, I would ask questions, but I never really gave my own opinion. I thought we would go up and, you know, we would go up further than we did. So that's me being confused, right? That's me being confused, the bear market, the bull market, what's happening? You know, of course, yes, it works as a thumbnail. People will click it, no question. I've got some experience there, but the content that I would consume, especially at the end of the last bull market, even though I've got all the experience, it was bull slop. Bull slop like this, right? The 4-year cycle is over. Can you remember this? Can you see? I mean, I don't want to be rude to anyone, but can you see where this stops, you know? It's over, implying that it's going up. Or, of course, the famous super cycle. We're going to have an omega candle to the moon, a rocket ship, right? We all remember that. Admit it, you all remember that. Or this one, that's especially great. That's especially great. Did you see this one? Apparently, we would go up to about 650,000 in the last cycle. Did you know? It never happened, of course. It never happened. Maybe I was too hopeful, maybe I was too optimistic, maybe I missed many things. I definitely did, probably. And after the top of 2025, I had to change my approach. I remember in Amsterdam, many of you maybe have been there at the conference in Amsterdam. We crashed through, I think it's the 50-week moving average. It's like the white line there. It's the line between the bull market and the bear market. And once we closed the weekly candle below it, it was a bear market. I even did a video saying, guys, I'm sorry, but this is a definite sign of a bear market. But did I believe it? Did I actually act on it? No. There was still hope, you know? There is still hope today that we are still in a bull market. There's people out there posting bull stuff on Twitter all the time. But, and this is a chart from Bob Loukas, someone I would recommend for you to follow on YouTube. It's not my chart. The 4-year cycle is not over. The 4-year cycle is actually right on track. It has been on track when it comes to the top. It has been on track when it came to the rallies and the bottoms in this cycle so far, like in the bear cycle. And that we all can expect, reasonably expect, as long as it doesn't break to the downside or the upside, that the 4-year cycle is going on. Why is the 4-year cycle going on? I don't know. And I don't really care at this point. It is happening, and it is one of the best ways to still think about Bitcoin as long as it's going on. Of course, there's going to be content saying it's broken every day. one thing I really knew I needed to do, and I can, and this is like the first of like 2 lessons that I want to present to you today. One thing that I really needed to do, I quit Twitter. I am out of Twitter. If you're on X, just delete the app, really. Just get out of it. It's completely useless. It's not only just AI slop, it's like it just serves you what you want to hear when it comes to charts and the Bitcoin price. I don't want to tell you what to do. We're all, free people, but my opinion is get out of Twitter. And here are the 2 things I learned, and this is important. So the first part is about media and journalism, and the second part is economics and Bitcoin. The first thing, news and narrative always follows the price. This is extremely important. We go up, we go down, we go up a little bit, and then the bulls come back and it's like, yeah, Bitcoin's going to 200 this year and this and that. The news and the narrative always follows the price. The price always moves first. And we think it's moved because of the Clarity Act or this and that and institutions buying, but it's nonsense. And now that we are going down, of course, we can see the classic signs of a bear market because the news and the narrative is following the price. So why is the largest cryptocurrency crashing, right? Can you see? Can I do this? No, I don't know. Can you see the date? It's June 2022. It's the same stories that we see today. Today, in June 2022, we were crashing. Now we're crashing. Now it's Bitcoin loses its luster because traders chase AI wave. Everybody's in AI now, SpaceX, this and that. And then, of course, the newest FUD, Google put a new expiration date on Bitcoin. Did you know? Bitcoin might be absolutely scarce. The discovery of absolute scarcity, but it now has an expiration date. Now, if you don't follow the news, I have one suggestion to make, and that's following this guy, Rolf Dobelli. He's a Swiss author, scientist, and he has written a piece. You can Google it. It says, "Avoid the news." And news, by news, he means like the daily chunks of information that you get fed through Twitter or through like the newspaper if you're old, right? Or like on your cell phone. We all get it, right? And it's true. I eat sugar. Unfortunately, I still eat sugar. And I still look at the news sometimes. But news is to the mind what sugar is to the body. Appetizing, easily digestible, and extremely damaging. Getting the news in the morning, getting the news on the radio, getting the news on TV will not make you understand the world better. Actually, it's the other way around. Avoiding the news and looking around and maybe looking at the price, because the price, in the end, is the only signal that we really have. We can't talk about manipulation. Who sold the price? Is there centralization? I come from the gold world. In the gold world, we have been talking about manipulation of price for decades. But still, there is a price. I can go to the shop. I can buy an ounce of gold for a fixed price, right? And I can sell the same ounce the next day. Let's get back to the price of Bitcoin, and let's get to the second lesson, because I think there is one thing that I want to share with you today that I think is important to understand. We all talk about what is Bitcoin, right? Is it digital gold? Is it a cryptocurrency? Is it a peer-to-peer cash instrument? Do we use it to pay for coffee, or do we just store it away on a Bitbox or some other hardware wallet? So who remembers this? I mean, everybody remembers this, right? It's May 22, 2010, it's Pizza Day. And every year, on May 22, we buy some pizza and we congratulate each other on Pizza Day. It's interesting because not only the first Bitcoin transaction was ever 10,000 coins for 2 pizzas, it's actually true that the first transaction on the internet in general was also pizza. So there's something going on with humans and pizza, but that's not it. The true reason why we cherish this day is because for the first time, we had some reference what the price of Bitcoin could be, right? The price. So it's 2 pizzas, 10,000 coins. Of course, now we can make jokes, it's a lot of coins, right? Who wouldn't want 10,000 Bitcoin? And now we talk about the roles of money. Store of value, unit of account, and unit of transaction. This is something that comes up all the time. Yes, we have quantum fund, and we have ETFs, and we have governments, and we have banks, and we have energy. But this is like the economic question that we get all the time, right? What is it? Is it a greater fool theory because you just buy it and you want to sell it to somebody else the next day? Is it actually a currency? And the answer, of course, is it's all of that, but there is a timeline. And the only way to find out what that timeline could be is by going back in time to this guy, Ludwig von Mises. Many of you have been, maybe heard about him, have maybe read his books. Yes, it's the Austrian School of Economics, and yes, I'm Austrian, but I can tell you that in Austria, nobody knows about the Austrian School of Economics. They had to leave Austria in order to be somewhat successful, and honestly, the Austrian school has only been revived by the emergence of Bitcoin. And the reason for that is that what is happening with Bitcoin right now, and what is, the way the price can solve the riddle about unit of transaction, store of value, and so on, can only be explained by the regression theorem that Ludwig von Mises postulated more than 100 years ago. Because when you go to a university, we joke about this all the time, I can give you 600,000 economists who cannot explain what money is, right? You don't learn about this. You don't even think about this when you go to a university these days with Keynesianism. Not even monetarism. It's called monetarism, but they don't understand money. So the Austrian school has the regression theory. It's the idea of how did we actually get to the place that we use money in our world. It's the idea that in order for something to be used as a good of exchange, as a store of value, and a unit of transaction and a unit of account, there has to be some sort of price the day before, right? It's a mental experiment. It's not like empirically possible to actually do this in a lab. It's a mental experiment, and Bitcoin is the first time ever that we can see this playing out in the real world. Maybe gold was the only time that we could see it before, but this played out over thousands of years. And Ludwig von Mises was the only one talking about this. So we need this first reference point. And in my opinion, the pizza day was that first reference point. And that's why it's so important. That's why it has such cultural meaning. Satoshi Nakamoto actually talked about this himself. There was a thread on the Bitcoin forums where he answered a question if Bitcoin does violate Mises' regression theorem. And this quote of Satoshi Nakamoto is one of my favorite quotes. And the interesting thing is, this came after Pizza Day. So what I'm postulating today, that Pizza Day basically was the first step on the regression theorem. It was actually something that not even Satoshi himself saw when it happened. So he talked, and he wrote, as a thought experiment, imagine there was a base metal, as scarce as gold, but with the following properties. It's boring and gray in color. It's not a good conductor of electricity. It's not particularly strong, but not ductile or easily malleable either, so you can't really do anything with it. And it's not useful for any practical or ornamental purpose. It's completely useless in any other way than money. But it has one special magical property. It can be transported over a communications channel. So I think it's fair to say that the idea of digital gold, the meme of digital gold, actually really goes back to Satoshi himself. And this post where he answers to the regression theorem, implying that he also knows about Austrian economics. He combined the ideas of the cypherpunks with the ideas of the Austrians and gave us Bitcoin. And now we see Bitcoin developing. In my opinion, this is the answer to the question, is it a store of value, or is it a unit of transaction, or is it a unit of account? Well, it's all of that at the same time, but there's a timeline to like the dominating role. This is the regression theorem in real time. This is the price. That's why we look at the price. But we all get, carried away with narratives. We get carried away with the bubbles. It's not important. It doesn't matter. This is the adoption curve of Bitcoin. Yes, you can put it in other ways. You can put it into the power law. I know we all know these charts, right? But this is the chart that we look at every single day. I think I took this screenshot 2 days ago, so apologies if the price has moved in the last couple of minutes. One of my guests, Christoph Kletzer, He's a professor of law in London. He's Austrian as well. And he wrote this article. This is German, but I'm going to have a translation on the next slide. He wrote this article, how Bitcoin is not a bubble, it's a big bang. And he wrote this article in 2017 in one of our mainstream papers. I actually worked for that paper when he wrote this article. He talked about Bitcoin in 2017 and he said, one day Bitcoin is going to be worth 150,000 euros. Christoph, I know you're here and we're still waiting for that number. 10 years later. No, but I'm joking. What's really important is his insight in the subtitle. Just like gold, Bitcoin is not valuable because it's useful. It is useful because it is valuable. It is a very specific sort of good. It's a monetary good. A monetary good, according to the regression theorem, is only useful when it's valuable. And this is what many people who don't understand Bitcoin or don't get Bitcoin or even fight Bitcoin are not able to grasp. There is a special place for things like gold or digital gold, in this case, Bitcoin. Just like gold, Bitcoin is not valuable because it's useful because it's valuable. And that brings us to my favorite Bitcoin slide of all time. It's from Anil, from Twitter actually, when I was still on Twitter. I don't know if he's here, but I'm a fan. He knows that. Because the first step on the regression theorem is the store of value step. And we do not know how long the store of value step is going to take. What is happening right now, and I think we see this very clearly here, the iPhone, digitized all of these things, TV, maps, and news, and the camera, and the radio, and the alarm clock. We all know about this, and hundreds, thousands of other things. And now we talk about, Bitcoin, we talk about the tokenization of capital markets. But what we're actually tokenizing is not the markets themselves. We don't really need tokenized real estate. We don't need tokenized stocks even. We don't need tokenized art. That's complete nonsense. Tokenized gold, maybe. This is all going to happen. But do we need it? No, we don't. Because we have a store of value that is perfect. It's designed for this. We have a good that is actually designed for the store of value. We have a digital version of what gold was in the ancient times. So when we talk about the price of Bitcoin crashing or mooning, when we get all worked up about the super cycle or the bear market, we miss the actual point, in my opinion. That is my message for you today. In reality, we are hearing the sound of a new monetary asset being priced into existence. And it's a beautiful sound. Yes, it's confusing, but in the end, it's what all of us hear and what brings us here today. And that is my message for you, not to worry, start to love the Bitcoin price, get off Twitter and just enjoy the ride. Thank you very much.